Beyond the realm of virtual triumphs and immersive adventures, a chilling truth awaits. Imagine a reality where the pixels on your screen hold more than just digital landscapes. What if the very games we cherish harbor enigmatic messages and hidden glitches, tempting us to unlock their dark secrets? Prepare to question the nature of your favorite titles as we peel back the layers of this horrifying truth. We will start with Pokémon and its link with the Great Pokémon War. Pokémon is one of the most successful video game brands of all time, with several fan theories surrounding the monster-catching and fighting series. The Pokémon War idea is a fascinating one that explains the logic of some of the odd features of the Pokémon universe. The hypothesis goes as follows. Pokémon Red, Blue, and Yellow take place just a few years after a devastating war between Kanto and a rival nation, or possibly even a world war involving the use of Pokémon, during which both you and your rival lost parents and are now among the first generation of young people born in a post-war era. This would explain why you don't have a father in the game and your opponent is an orphan, why your mother recognizes you as the man of the home, and why 10-year-old children are able to travel the globe alone. With this in mind, other aspects of the Pokémon universe, such as the predominance of hospitals and gyms, the absence of adult men save for the elderly or those engaging in organized crime like Team Rocket, and the lack of infrastructure and population become much more concerning. The next game we are going to discuss is Animal Crossing and its theory about a child abducting cult. On the surface, Animal Crossing seems to be a very joyful and uplifting game about a person living in a community with friendly anthropomorphic animals that enjoy decorating, fishing, bug catching, and other enjoyable pastimes. However, one fan theory claims that Animal Crossing is about a youngster being abducted and brainwashed into a cult. A strange duck-like monster named Kapp'n, which is based on the legendary Japanese creature the Kappa and is notorious for kidnapping children, transports the player character, a human child, to the village in the game's opening scene. In certain games, you wake up in the back of Kapp'n's automobile, as if you've been drugged. When the character arrives at the town, there's already a home waiting for them, as though the whole community anticipated their arrival. You are instantly buried under a mound of debt, and the creatures who live there force you to labor to pay it off. Even after you have paid off your non-consensual house loan, Tom Nook will improve your home with or without your approval, leaving you in debt. If you attempt to leave, the guards will stop you at the gates. So you're confined in a community where you rely on your captors for everything, and they never stop monitoring you, leaving you with no way out. Animal Crossing seems to have more in common with Jonestown than with a community simulation. Moving forward, our next game is Silent Hill 2. Do you know Mary's body was in James' car trunk the whole time? Silent Hill 2, often regarded as the greatest of the legendary survival horror series by enthusiasts, is a scary game. Not just because of the existence of horrific creatures like Pyramid Head, but also because you killed your wife and buried the memories. However, many fans have remarked that the corpse of Mary is nowhere to be seen throughout the game, despite all of the manifestations of James' guilt we witness. However, one idea suggests that Mary's corpse was closer to us than we assumed. According to the hypothesis, James' wife's body was kept in the trunk of his vehicle the whole time. James placed it there to achieve her goal of returning to Silent Hill in his own twisted manner. Although Silent Hill 2 may have various endings, this idea explains James' choice of words in one of them. James comes to Silent Hill to commit himself, and in the water ending, he does so by driving his vehicle into the lake. As he does so, he declares that he and his wife may now be together forever. While some read this speech as admitting his death and supposed journey to meet her in the hereafter, supporters of the idea believe he meant he and his wife's bodies will be reunited in a more literal sense. Now we will discuss about Portal. Have you realized that companion cubes have people in them? The portal-weighted companion cube was an inanimate device with pink hearts on it that assisted you in solving puzzles, pressing buttons, and opening doors. It barely featured briefly in the original Portal game, but the fandom has fallen in love with it ever since. Companion cube is adorable. In such a lonesome game as Portal, it seemed like a companion, which makes it all the more terrible when you're forced to hurl it into a fire in order to progress. Everyone paused, but we couldn't figure out why. After all, it's only a piece of clothing, right? Companion Cube has subsequently become an iconic emblem of the successful series, as seen by the profitable Portal products. But what if the painted cube had more to it than we realized? According to one fan hypothesis, the companion cubes are weighted because they house the dead or dying corpses of failed test subjects. The reward you get after you incinerate the cube is called fratricide, and the prior, possibly thousands, of test participants are your brothers. Furthermore, the cube is easily big enough to accommodate a person within. GLaDOS informs Chell that the companion cube cannot speak and should be disregarded if it does, implying that they both can and should be listened to. Unless those folks were genuinely turned inside cubes, Doug Ratman scribbles all over the walls of Aperture. which include photos of cues plastered over the heads of humans, are typically ignored as mad rants. GLaDOS even mocks Chell in Portal 2 by stating it was ready to say "I love you" and adding, "They are sentient, of course." We just have a plethora of them. This implies that the cubes have some basic intellect or that the dark idea is correct. Lastly, we will talk about Portal 2. Do you know Cave Johnson and Caroline are Chell's parents? What do you mean? You read it correctly. The two main adversaries from the Portal series may be our beloved quiet Chell's parents. But what proof do we have? In Portal 2, the player discovers a Bring Your Daughter to Work day featuring several scientific fair projects created by employers' daughters. One of these projects, an experiment using a giant potato, has a scribbling in the corner that reads "by Chell," because there aren't many females called Chell. This shows she was the daughter of an Aperture Science employee. The game also implies that Cave Johnson and Caroline are involved. The oil painting of Cave and Caroline is maybe the most disturbing piece of evidence. Players with keen eyes discovered that if you look attentively in the murky backdrop on the left, you may see the ghostly silhouette of a little girl. Only family members were featured in bespoke oil paintings in the past. Therefore, Cave must have married Caroline and the tiny girl is their daughter, Chell. Later in the game, when GLaDOS inhabits a potato and discovers she's an eye based on Caroline's mind being transferred into the computer, she becomes loving and protective of Chell, something the previous GLaDOS would never do. GLaDOS even mentions during a credits song that Chell looks a lot like Caroline, perhaps hinting to their connection. The turret song itself often alludes to My Dear Child. The comic Lab Rat, which depicts a teddy bear in Chell's bed, lends credence to the notion that she has spent her whole childhood at Aperture. Some claim GLaDOS lied about erasing Caroline at the conclusion of the game because she knew Chell would never leave if she knew GLaDOS was her mother. Are you still not convinced? To top it all off, Cave, Caroline, and Chell's names all begin with the letter C. And there you have it, intrepid explorers of the dark side of video games. We unraveled the threads of terrifying theories and confronted the chilling possibilities that lie beneath the surface of our beloved digital realms. But remember, knowledge is both a burden and a gateway to new understanding. Thank you for joining us on this captivating exploration of horrifying theories of video games. Stay vigilant, keep questioning, and may your future gaming adventures be filled with excitement, mystery, and just a hint of spine-tingling terror. Until next time, fellow adventurers, game on.